We're gonna be here all day. We're gonna be here all day, baby. I like this kind of party.
Welcome back to the Wayback, y'all. I'm Ryan Sickler over here. Today, very excited to have our guest on. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jason Mewes. Welcome to the Wayback.
Thank you. Yay. Hello.
Thank you for being here. Look, you're actually someone I wanted to talk to about because this show's all about nostalgia, growing up. Yours a little bit younger than me, but we're in that back seat in the station wagon looking out the back.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever have one of these in your family?
I did. Well, my grandma had one, yeah. So I'll never forget it because not only did we have the back, what I loved is, I remember the door would open real big like this.
Yeah, that's right.
And
the glass window.
And we had the little handles on the side. So I remember sometimes I'd be like, come on, and I'd ask her to let me drive on the back like a little bit. She'd always yell at me. But yeah, it was awesome. It is an interesting way. I remember driving, you just watch people at stoplights behind you and make faces and stuff. It was cool. But yes, we had one. And it's funny because it took me a sec, but I was like, all right, I remember the scene. We got the radio. So
there's not even a cassette player, nothing in that. So if you haven't seen Jason's episode of The Honeydew, you got to check it out. And just knowing what I know, so you never knew your father. And your mom was an addict that you're not spending a lot of time with. You're living a lot with your grandmom. So those formative years up to, 12, 13, what are you doing? Like, what is your summer? What are your summers like? Because you're from Jersey. So what are you doing as a kid? Are you playing sports? You riding bikes? Like, what are you doing to get away?
Definitely riding lots of bikes. The cool thing about, I feel like where I grew up, it was a small town. It was a mile long. It was right by the beach. We lived there was a river though, but in 2 blocks from the beach where my grandma lived. So I'd go swimming in the summer, and we'd ride our bikes around. Started rollerblading. We'd rollerblade up and down the main drag. We used to go to the woods a lot. There was woods up in the hills, and we'd build forts and stuff, right? And we had a rope swing in our town. And what was great, again, because it was so small, like everyone knew everybody. So like, even if you weren't friends with people, you'd be like, oh yeah, there's the Smiths, there's the Johnsons. And you would chat with people and like, so everyone would be hanging out. There'd be older kids at the rope swing, drinking and doing their thing, where the younger kids would be trying to use the rope swing and doing goofy stuff.
We had a
but
rope
it was
swing
fun.
too. We had a rope swing in it. We built it on a hill.
Exactly, yeah.
And there was a knot off the side of the tree, and people would take it. And if you could pull it to the side far enough, and it would swing, it would give you a good swing, but then it would slide off that knot. But it wouldn't bounce you until you were out where the cliff's going down. Dude, my friend Chris Lamb, still to this day, you can keep his name in. This poor son of a bitch earned this. He was coming over to visit us. My mom didn't like anybody. She didn't even like her own kids, all right? And she liked him.
Yeah.
And he rode his 10-speed. He had a white Schwinn, I'll never forget. He rode it down the hill, laid it in our front yard, and then we all went out back into the woods to go around on the rope swing. We're shooting BB guns, capture the flag, all that shit. It was one of those epic ones where we swung him and that thing we were like, oh, he's going to get the biggest bounce ever. And he bounces and he falls off and he lands flat. And at the time it had just rained, so it's all mud. And he is covered in mud. And he's like, oh, fuck. And I'm like, are you all right? He's like, yeah, but I wasn't supposed to go outside and play. I was like, what? He's like 12 too, by the way. It's like, who the fuck tells you? He's like, his stepmother was a witch. And she was like, I told you not to go out and play. And so we come up with this lie that he's riding down the street and he cuts across our grass and it's wet and he wrecks and he gets muddy. And she doesn't buy it. And this motherfucker looked like he was in a mud wrestling ring. She doesn't buy it all. She grounded him for 6 months and then stuck to it. And I'll never forget, my mother was physically, mentally, emotionally abusive. Fuck you up. I'll never forget her going, I feel sorry for him. And I was like, you feel sorry for him? What are you talking about? We live with you.
Yeah.
I remember we played, you ever play Capture the Flag? You ever do that in the woods?
Yeah. We used to do that. We used to play Kick the Can.
Yeah. I never played Kick the Can.
Yeah,
I was
fun.
older, but still.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It was cool because, again, we knew that all the neighbors would play. There was a bunch of kids that lived by us. We play Kick the Can in our street. We play flashlight tag.
Yeah, flashlight tag's a great one. Yeah.
And we had, again, the town was small. small, but so we had blocks, and we would use like 4 blocks. People would be running all around these kids. Again, it was a great place. I tell my wife all the time, like, I love it out here in California, but like when I'm with my kid and I'm like, hey, let's ride this scooter out in front of our house, and like people are speeding by and stuff,
and there's
like,
human shit on the sidewalk.
Yeah, it's like like we just moved, but before that we lived in the hills, and same thing, people would be cutting through traffic, people coming from Hollywood Bowl, drinking, throwing bottles in front of our house. Like, I just don't feel safe with the kids. Like, we would be out till 2 a.m. sometimes, as long as we were in front of the house.
Summer
and stuff.
nights.
Yeah.
Did you ever pool hop? Did you ever do that?
We didn't do that pool hop because we were right by the beach. So
okay, so you didn't need to pool hop,
we just go right down the block, swimming in the river, and then if we really wanted to like go out and like go to the beach and hang out, you go across this bridge. And there was called Sandy Hook, and there was the ocean. So that's where we'd go walk really far there, and they had a nude beach.
They did?
Yeah, there's a nude beach. I mean, you weren't allowed on it really, but we'd go down there. The kids sometimes sneak a peek here and there, but it wasn't very exciting because it was always like
it's not the beautiful people.
No,
it's never the beautiful people.
But it was cool, and we had a rope swing as well on the bridge, underneath the bridge. So people would climb up to this pillar and then swing and drop off in the water and stuff. And we jumped off the bridge. It was low enough to jump off the bridge.
We used to jump off our bridge.
Cool,
we
right?
had listen, ours was 100 foot up.
I don't know what ours was.
It was 100 feet up. We measured it with a tape measure there, from the roadway.
Yeah.
100 feet. There were rafters underneath of it though that were built, and they were probably about 70 feet.
Yeah.
So some people be brave enough to do the rafters. Some people actually would be, princess loves her some Jason. Some people would be brave enough to go all the way to the top. We go up, and we'd always have people in the rafters that would jump in. We'd have people treading down there because there was a kid who went to our rival high school, and he jumped, and he was at night, and he got caught. There's apparently some kind of cable under there or something. His foot got caught, shoe. And he got stuck, and he never came up. So we were all freaked out about that. But, man, we went, and we would jump. And they said it was considered a suicide attempt if the police saw you jump off a bridge this high over the water. We're like, I didn't even think of that. And my brother flipped. He tried, it was always an asshole that needed to one-up everybody. So my brother tried to be the guy who was going to flip. It was him and a guy named George Wilk. And you can keep these names in. And my brother, as he was jumping off, got scared. And he did that, when you're just learning how to flip, you sort of go to the side. Oh, yeah. Well, he did that up there, and it brought his body just flailing out of control. He slaps the water. He gets out. He's spitting up blood. It's on VHS somewhere out there. But my favorite capture of the flag was in the winter one time. We all played. It was like a 5-on-5 at 10 neighborhood kids, and you just hide the flag, and then you hide, and you try to capture their people, and we would tie you up and, just fuck you up. So I purposely would play on a different team as my brother so we could hopefully beat the shit out of each other. And one day we capture him. We got him seated. His legs are out like this, and he's tied to a tree. And we're just keeping him in our area, waiting for everybody to come get him so we can bombard them. But also while we're waiting, we're making snowballs, and we're on this ridge, and the cars are going by below. So we just start bombing cars with snowballs. Well, one of my buddies hits this fucking pickup truck, a little Ford Ranger, and that motherfucker said, and he skids, stops the car, it's 2-lane double yellow, leaves it, comes hoofing up the fucking hill, and we're like, oh, Jesus Christ. So we all panic and we hide, but my brother is out in the wide open, tied to a fucking tree, and the guy comes up and sees him. He's like, you gonna fucking throw snowballs at my truck? My brother's like, I'm tied to a tree. He's like, I don't give a fuck. Packs a snowball, and we're like, nah. And he fucking Nolan Ryan, that fastball, boom, right in my brother's fucking face. I am pissing myself laughing. My brother's like, you piece of shit. He can't get up to get the guy. The guy just walks back down the hill and drives off. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
We used to do the snowballs too on Miller Hill. We'd hide behind the bus stop and we'd throw snowballs at cars driving by, which is, it's funny because I think about doing that as a kid, but it's like now it's so dangerous. Like you could cause like an 8-person pileup. Luckily, it never happened. You know what I mean? Like someone
100%.
dies, you go to jail for manslaughter.
You're like, well, I was just throwing snowballs.
And we used to use, funny to say, tying up. We used to use, like the plastic 6-pack wrap thing. You got to cut up so dolphins don't eat. We used to fold them up to double and use them like handcuffs. Like you slide the,
hell
you know,
that's
because
a
you're a
good
younger
one.
little thing. But yeah, we used to do the same stuff. And then in the winter, it was cool 'cause our school, the elementary school, was up on both sides. There's this huge grass hill, and then the school is up on top. And so we we'd be so excited. We had one of those horns in our neighborhood. So when you didn't have to go to school, it'd be like, wing.
Oh, yeah.
So we'd be like, no school today. And then we'd drag our sleighs up to the school and then sleigh ride down the hill and stuff. It was awesome. And I always tell my wife, I'm like, part of me would love to bring my kids to where I grew up in Highlands and raise them there. But again, it's like she's, the winters and the summers and the humidity, and I just, it's not, for me now, it's like I enjoy it too much out here as an adult, selfishly,
We would take, my brothers and I, we had a deep freeze in the basement. We'd keep our like crab bait and stuff in it. And we would take, if it hit good packed snow in March, we'd pack some snowballs and we'd throw like 20 of them down in the freezer. Right. And just out of nowhere, in the middle of fucking July, just start bombarding somebody. And they're like, where the fuck you get snowballs? We're like, that March snow, motherfucker. That's where we got, God, just hitting them. My cousin and I, you talk about killing somebody. Thank God we didn't. But one time, we're in Baltimore City. We're in Highlandtown, and there's this overpass. And there's a main street underneath of it called Eastern Avenue. Okay, it's the main thoroughfare through Baltimore City. And it's Thanksgiving Eve, and it had snowed, and we packed some snowballs. Just me and him, my brothers and his brothers and sisters are back at the place. And we're walking, and we just get over the overpass. I'm like, let's fucking throw some snowballs at cars. And this big city bus is coming down the hill. And, it's got that monster glass windshield.
Yeah.
We're like, oh. And we just boom, boom, 1-2 that motherfucker. And all of a sudden, the dude got scared, hits the brakes, and the bus starts sliding. Yeah, it turned side. We were like, oh my God. And we just hauled ass. Yeah. And then all we did was watch the 11 o'clock news. Oh, wait, we need to see if there's a bus crash right out front, because that shit was scary. But you're right. You could kill somebody from it.
It is. It's crazy to think about, like, the things, fights too. I remember, like, again, fighting. I mean, again, I know adults fight too, but it's like we fought more. Like I cared less about. I didn't fight that much as a kid, but I'm saying I just didn't hesitate. And you just think about all the things, like just throwing the snowballs. I remember sometimes we'd even, like, if we got really bored, we'd throw rocks, like not even snowballs, but rocks at cars whipping by, hiding behind the, the bus stop and stuff. Because it was like literally this hill that went up, and then there was a big cement. They built this big cement bus stop so we could hide behind it. And there was all these trees and stuff behind it. So we'd hide behind there and pop out and be like, and but yeah, thank goodness.
What about your Jersey? And I know say Hell Night, the night before Halloween, there's really fucking big there. I feel like you guys go hard on that. Did you ever do any stuff like that? Summer requires extraordinary hydration that's built for everyday dehydrating moments. Liquid IV hydrates you with benefits like electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients. With 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, plus 8 vitamins and nutrients in a single stick, it's clear why Liquid IV is the #1 powdered hydration brand in America. It couldn't be easier to do, all right? You grab 16 ounces of water, you rip the tab off, you pour it in, you shake it, and you enjoy it. They offer a variety of delicious flavors, including sugar-free options, and the convenient packaging means you can bring some extra pouches no matter where your summer adventures take you. Tear, pour, live more. 1 stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. Turn your ordinary water into extraordinary hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code WAYBACK at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code WAYBACK at liquidiv.com. That was Halloween big for you guys?
Yeah. Mischief night was a big night. Yeah. And, our town had a curfew. You had to be in at a certain time. If you were under 18, and I think it was 18, it might even been like 16, you couldn't buy eggs from the grocery, because we had like... Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love hearing
They
that.
had there was 2 grocery stores in our town. Actually 3. There was Welsh Farms, Cumberland Farms, and in the middle there was like a mom and pop shop called Katz's, and they wouldn't sell you eggs. And then we would go around toilet paper and people egging cars and houses and stuff like that. But it was fun. We would do it, and then if you got caught. I mean, we pretty much stuck to it because the other downside to living in a small town where you know everyone, the cops knew you. So there's no getting away. Like if you throw an egg and a cop pulls up and sees you, you can't run, hide, and then you're
It's
like,
not,
oh, we
hey,
got
you, it's
away
Jason.
with it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they know where you live.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
that's
like,
right. Don't meet
even
you
if
there.
you get away and hide, they're like, oh, we'll just go to his house in 2 hours and pick him up, So it was, yeah.
Okay, so obviously you grew up very different. Did anyone ever send you away to camps or anything like that? Was there any of that just to get you somewhere else where also they can take a break, but you're getting a little bit of real life out there? Because your life is so different.
Yeah, there was no camps really for me. I mean, for me during the summer, when I hit 14, you were able to work for the town. So at 14, I started working. Before that, again, I used to just spend a lot of time at the beach or in my yard. It was cool where my grandma, when I lived with my grandma, next to my grandma, she had 2 houses on the property, and my aunt and her kids lived there. And then my brother lived upstairs. Again, it's weird because I lived downstairs and my brother lived upstairs. But my brother, when I wasn't living with my grandma, lived there full time because my aunt raised them. But so I would hang out with my brother in the yard, sometimes go with him. I used to love wanting to go with him. He was 8 years older. So when I was 10, he's 18, 9, he's 17. And he would, go hang out with girls and stuff. And I know he would do like obnoxious things. This is what I would have to do to compromise. Like I remember one night we go up to this school. He's hanging out with a bunch of his friends, drinking beers with some girls like 17 years old. I'm like 9, and I go, and I remember he pulls up one of the girls' shirts, and her fucking big old boobies hang out and stuff, and I'm like, But then by the end of that, he winds up taking me by my tighty-whities and hanging me on the flagpole. Like the flagpole has the tie.
Yeah, dude,
They picked me up in the air, hung me on my underpants. So I'm hanging there, and they're all laughing at me. So I had to be fucking heckled by my brother's friends and the girls and stuff. But by the end of the night, I'm like, I got to see some titties at least,
Was that your first time seeing boobs?
No, my brother used to do that stuff all the time. Like, yeah, I remember one time, and I remember coming downstairs, like he was watching me, and he had his girlfriend over, and me and my buddy were in the house, and I lived. We had a 2-story because it was my mom when I was with my mom at this point for about 2 years, a year and a half. But we were upstairs, me and my buddy, and all of a sudden I hear wrestling, cut it out. And me and him go, and we look over, and his lady's butt naked on the ground, and he's like kissing on her and holding her down and stuff. She's like, she's like, cut it out. Your brother's going to come down. And I turn around and I go, too late, And she's like, damn you. Like, she was so upset that like he didn't like try to hide her in the other room or something. He was trying to fool around with her, and anyway, she heard me. So then I saw her like whole thing, and I remember my buddy's like, oh my gosh, did you see that hairy thing? And I was like, oh yeah. And I swear how old was I? Third? See, to be like 8 years old, 7, 8 years old. It was crazy. So it was a little weird. Not, again, it was fun for me, but at the same time, like weird shit like that would happen. So, but anyway, it was, again, that and fireworks. Fireworks were huge. Yeah. Growing up for me.
Were they legal in Jersey?
Yeah, it was
okay.
Okay. Yeah, and again, so where we live, you go down the hill, and it's like a mile long. So there was the main highway. Sorry, the main highway went like along right here, and it was like Atlantic Highlands, Seabright, all that. So if you went down, which had to take a jug handle, which is funny. My wife, the first time, was like, what's a jug handle? I'm like, you go in a circle, come around, and got to cross the road.
Because you can't make a goddamn left in New Jersey. No, yeah, it's ridiculous. So is it still against the law to pump your own gas in Jersey?
Yeah,
is it really? Yeah,
it's like one of the only states. The last time I went there, I pull up, I get out of the car, and the dude comes up the window and goes, what are you doing? What do you need? I'm like, whoa. I was like, sorry, I forgot, and I had to park because I wanted to go in the store. Like here, I'll just pull in if there's like 20, like whatever, like 8 stalls, snowballs and it's empty, I'll just pull up real quick closest to the door, jump out and go get a drink. So I went to do that and they're like, whoa, what do you need? I'm like, I totally forgot. It's been so long. But
they also act like, what are you fucking doing? It's like, what the other 40, I think there's Oregon might be one too. There's like 48 states. That's what the fuck I'm doing.
It's so crazy.
But everybody else
I tell you, it's nice though during the winter, right? Like if I'm visiting home and it's like really cold or it's pouring rain because there's friggin' storms, I'm like, it's nice to sit there and roll the window down and crack and be like, I'll take $20, you know. But yeah, so I remember going down. So we go downtown. It's a mile long, and then the other side you can go up the hill to get back on the main drag. So my point is that that whole mile, there's like the whole river running along it. So there's all these different beaches and stuff. And what was cool is everyone on the different roads, and because like there's houses, a street, and they had a beach. You know, then houses, street, and each street had a beach. And so people would light fireworks from there, and it was awesome because you would just see fireworks all over it. And then me and my buddy would wake up like 5:30 in the morning, 6, and then we'd go the next day, and all these people, because they'd be drinking, it'd be late at night, you'd find all these fireworks that weren't set off because people would like go to light a firework and it would fall, and they'd be like, grab another one, you know? So we would find tons and tons of fireworks. It was awesome. Again, these are all little things.
We used to do bottle rocket wars, like literally shoot them at each other and wear like cookie trays. BB guns, we do BB tag.
Oh, the BB guns. My brother, the neighbor, one time, I
feel like they're not as big anymore.
But they hurt like hell.
Fuck yeah, they hurt.
My brother one time was with his older friends. I come over and go, what are you guys doing? They're like, we're shooting BB guns. They're like, hey, go set up that can over there. So I go to run across, because again, I'll do whatever they ask. I run across to go set up the can. All of a sudden, pop, in the back of my leg. I was like, oh! There's a welt and there's a little hole from the BB.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. I had the Daisy. It was an 880 pellet gun. It was a BB pellet gun.
Oh, those are nice.
You could either pull, like it was a carton, looked like a milk jug of BBs. Yeah. You could pour them all in, but pellets you had to do one at a time. And we used to go out and fucking shoot everything back then. Like my brother, I'll never forget, my brother shot this woodpecker. It was a little tiny woodpecker. And I was like, man, that's fucked up, dude. He's on our deck and he shoots it. It was annoying. It was that. And he shot, and I was like, you ain't going to hit it anyway, but he did. Yeah. So we go over and we go check it out, and it's in the woods. And my brother picks it up, and I'm like, look at this poor little thing, little necks flopping, and then it pops up and shakes its head, and it just fucking lights his hand up.
No way.
I mean, and my brother just fucking threw it down, and then he put 2 in the side of its little tiny bird head because he was mad, and then took his fucking hoodie string out, and he tied it and hung it from a tree. Oh, no. Okay. And the next day, we go down, the next morning, there's little fox prints, and that fucking woodpecker's gone.
Oh, no way.
And I still think to this day about there's some old fox somewhere going, I'm telling you, it was hanging in a tree. Whatever. You know what I mean? Like, there ain't a fox on earth that's ever had a meal like that.
It's funny you say it because I remember shooting a bird once, right? It was in a tree. I shot it and I hit it in like its wing, I guess. So like it went to fly off and started going around in a circle. And I ran outside. I started crying. I realized like it really hurt my feelings. I started crying and I picked it up. I was like, oh my God, what did I do? And like I tried to like nurse it back and like put it away. But after that, I swear I never hurt an animal again. Like I realized it's not my nature, man.
I've never been a hunt. My dad was like, do you guys want to hunt? We're like, nah, we'd rather play sports. He's like, all right. And that was the end of that shit for him too.
Yeah. I don't think my cousin's husband hunts. He goes deer hunting all the time. I don't think I could do it. Like I know I can't do it because if I cried over a bird.
Oh yeah, you're crying over a big ass deer.
Yeah, like
while you're dragging it back to the car. Like,
I really would. Yeah, I couldn't do it.
We had a junkyard that was on the other side of the woods. So you go through, the rope swings like halfway, and you go through, and there's this junkyard. And they always had junkyard dogs. And even if you got close, these motherfuckers were coming. And I remember my brother we got one of those really nice slingshots. It was like, it had the hand grip. You know what I mean? You put your arm in it and sit here.
Leather piece on the back.
Yeah. And this dog is on our ass. And my brother turns around and just miracle, just and it hits this dog right here. And this dog just goes, and he just sits down, just sits there. And he just stares at us. And I was like, God damn, you're lucky as shit.
They have some, I go to Walmart now and I'll sometimes look because they got some like nice sniper with like, it looks like a silencer and everything. BB guns still.
Yeah, BB gun. And those paint pellet guns are fucking badass too.
Sometimes I'm like, man, I want to get one, but I haven't gotten one, but I think about it because there's some cool ones now.
Yeah,
not like the daisies, like you said, the old school pump ones.
10 of these motherfuckers. Yeah, all air. What would you say were like your favorite parts of growing up? Again, you grew up extended family.
Yeah.
Like, what do you appreciate about the way you did grow up? Because I lived with my grandmother for a little while too. And I'll say this, like the thing that I didn't like is like my grandmother's house was special. When you went there, it had a smell and everything. And as soon as I moved in, all that smell goes away. You get used to it, and now you're like, oh, it's just a place. So I was curious, what did you like most about it?
Yeah, I think for me, it's like, again, I feel like I know what you're saying about the smell, and it makes so much sense. But again, over time, you sort of forget that. But I still remember the smell. But I loved as a kid with my brother being upstairs. I loved that. He used to have the coolest toys when I was old. Because, again, when he was 15, 16, he got Transformers. He had all the cool G.I. Joes. And every once in a while, he would let me come upstairs and play with them and play with the toys. And that was such a big deal for me. And my grandma had this really cool attic that you could walk around in. And there was a room, and we used to play Dungeons and Dragons in there. Well, he would play, and then every once in a while he'd let me play and stuff. But I would say overall, again, for me, was when I was younger, going to the beach because it was so close. I could go in the summer, sleigh riding in the winter. But for the most part, day by day, as I used to rollerblade everywhere.
Okay.
And we used to play street hockey, and that became my thing from like, I would say 14 to 17 at least or so, maybe even 18. Like, that's why, like, Kevin and I used to play with Kevin. Kevin used to be goalie. I don't know if you ever seen Comic Book Men. On Comic Book Men, there's Brian Johnson, Walt Flanagan. We used to all hang out at the community center and play hockey. And we used to all play. We took a tennis court. We took the nets down. We padded the poles, and we put boards all around the outside.
Okay.
And we used to play hockey almost every day, and it was so much fun. And I got pretty decent on them. Like, I used to be able to hop garbage cans and stuff. I don't know. It was just fun living in a small town. Roller skating up and down, and it was always something to do because even if no one was around, you rollerblade up and down the main street, that mile-long street, like 4 or 5 times. And we used to have something called the church wall. There was a wall, and people used to go there, and if they were bored, they just sit on the wall and hang out with their cars. Some people would have cars. They'd play music, some Misfits and some Minor Threat and stuff. And then you pull up on your roller skates. Hey, what are you gonna do? I'm just chilling. Then all of a sudden, the 4th person would come and a 5th person. So every day, usually there would be a pile of people hanging out and stuff. I don't know. It was pretty awesome, actually.
Hell yeah. Well, dude, this has been great. Thank you very much for doing this episode.
Thank you.
Plug and promote everything you'd like, please.
Yes, twitch.tv/JMewes, and then also JMewes and his amusing stories. If you want to find out dates right now, you can go to jmewes.com. Amusing stories is me telling stories of growing up, meeting my buddy, behind the scenes on movies and stuff like that, things with my kids and getting peed on and stuff, fun things like that. But yeah, so it's Twitch. My social media is all JMewes too. So everything is JMewes. Check it out. Check me out. And thank you.
Yeah, brother. Thank you. As always, RyanSickler.com. Ryan Sickler on all social media. Get your tickets to the tour at RyanSickler.com. Talk to y'all next week.